Hi everyone, my name is Rebecca and welcome to our video on career exploration, where we will be sharing with you tons of information and resources to help you choose a career pathway that meets your needs and your skills. So what is a career path? A career is an occupation or a profession that usually requires specialized training and is often followed as one's life work. However, one person can have multiple different careers in their life. A career path is a sequence of jobs that usually leads to a person's short-term or long-term career goals, and it often leads to higher positions. In Canada, a career can be broken into 4 different sections: knowledge-oriented jobs, skill-oriented jobs, entrepreneurship, and freelance. And we will be using the Career Nuts website to help us guide through what these are. Knowledge-oriented jobs are those in which you have acquired and used some type of knowledge, such as jobs in law, engineering, medicine, finance, and management, to name a few. Knowledge-oriented professionals help other businesses using their knowledge and time through problem-solving, advising, or creation. Skill-oriented jobs are jobs that are very hands-on and require professional labor and a very specialized set of skills. Jobs like chefs, welders, plumbing, and mechanics, just to name a few. The skills required for these jobs can be learned in 2 ways: through an apprenticeship program or through colleges. There are 27 colleges in Ontario, and each offers various skilled trade learning. We encourage you to take a look at them through ontariocolleges.ca if this pathway interests you. ontariocolleges.ca shows you all the different colleges in Ontario, and when you choose a certain college, it shows you about the lifestyle, the campus, and the different programs that that college has. It's important to note that the knowledge and skills are intermingled. A lot of jobs or career pathways use both skills as well as knowledge. However, objectively speaking, jobs that require physical labor are more hands-on and can be considered skilled trade, while other jobs can be categorized as knowledge-oriented. Some jobs that require equal amounts of skill and knowledge are lawyers, interior decorators, and salesmen. Next is entrepreneurship. This is when you set up your business and you are your own boss. The business is something that adds value to the customer in the form of trading, selling a new product or service. You will need a means to create a product or service to begin if you wish to go down this career path. Often, entrepreneurs use a combination of skills and knowledge to build their business. Today, building a business online can be through TikTok or Instagram and has created very low barriers to entry in the market, meaning anyone can start their own business as long as people online begin responding to it. From creating small art print shops in Etsy to offering career counseling and even baking at home. However, it does require a lot of effort to keep pushing through to build an audience of loyal customers, and often the amount of work to put into it does not always equal the amount of revenue you receive in the beginning of your venture, so you will require lots of patience and passion for this career path. And finally, freelancers. This is where you sell a service or skill without being tied to a corporate enterprise, whether it being your own or a different company. This category includes jobs like graphic designers, chartered accountants, and photographers, to name a few. So how do I decide what career path suits me? Deciding on a career is always going to be daunting, especially when you realize you need to invest a lot of money and time into learning a skill that you may be using for the rest of your life. So there are many tools out there that can help you understand what career would fit you best. To begin with this, we suggest taking some time and reflecting on what you like, what you think you do best, and what your strengths and weaknesses are. This will help you realize your skills and help you begin thinking of a career in a direction that you can take. There are many tests online that you can do to help you figure out your skills and abilities as well and fully plan your career path. I'm going to show you some of these now. freecareertest.com can help you understand what path would fit you best. Click on the Take Your Free Career Test button to take a test. myblueprint.ca is also something that we love to use. I used it a lot in high school, and it can help you thoroughly plan your career and education. Students can choose a career and plan exactly what grades, university programs, and courses are needed in order to help them enter the career that they have chosen. Take a look at the website, fill in your information, and check out the different universities and colleges and the different programs that they have. Next is the Job Bank Career Test. The Government of Canada's Job Bank has their own career quiz, which can help you identify which careers are suited for you and which are not. There are plenty of different options, so take your time to visit this website and try the different tests to see your different styles. If you really don't know what career to take even after these tests, don't worry, you're not alone. We suggest then that you take a look at the high demanding jobs in Canada in the next coming years. Researching jobs that will be high in demand or are already high in demand can ensure that you have a higher rate of success in landing a job after you graduate, meaning you have job security, and sometimes, since these jobs are in high demand, they would have higher pay as well. Since baby boomers are expected to retire in the coming years, plenty of jobs are becoming high demanding. Here are some of the most high demanding jobs for 2021. They include nurses, business management consultants, pilots, pharmacists, and physiotherapist assistants. Check out the tradeschools.net to figure out some of the high in demand jobs. Now let's look at how to use the Myers-Briggs personality test to choose a career path. So before we dive into how you can use this test to choose a career, let's first understand what this test actually is. So the Myers-Briggs personality test is a psychological assessment that sorts you into one of the 16 different personality types. The test also sorts you into one of the 4 opposing psychological elements. This includes extroversion to introversion, which is how you spend your energy, and then sensing and intuition, which is how you receive information, thinking and feeling, which is how you make your decisions, and then judging and perceiving, which is how you see the world. So the overall purpose is for you to understand who you are and apply to the direction in which you want to take your career. So we will be using the indepth career guide to show us how the Myers-Briggs personality test can help us. So understanding your personality thoroughly can help you choose a career best suited for you. From the way you interact with people, to how you process information, to how you make key decisions are all workplace behaviors that you have a major influence on your career decision. Therefore, here are the ways you can use a Myers-Briggs test to choose a career. First, you want to study your personality type. You can find many sources online that go into great detail on the personality types, and researching about your own is a great way to start learning more about yourself. Research jobs that fit your personality type. Different personality types suit different jobs. Here are just some of the most popular jobs for each personality type. So if you're an introverted, sensing, thinking, and judging, jobs that might suit that includes attorney, civil engineer, dentist, loan officer, and software developer. If you're an introverted, intuitive, feeling, and judging, jobs can include animator, designer, HR manager, professor, and school counselor. If you're extroverted, sensing, thinking, and perceiving, jobs include actor, paramedic, entrepreneur, sales manager, and stockbroker. And if you're extroverted, intuitive, thinking, and judging, jobs may include art director, editor, executive assistant, real estate broker, and sociologist. Next, you want to find your career passion. So it takes time and self-awareness to understand what you're passionate about, in addition to making a career out of it. Each day, you have the opportunity to figure out what excites you by trying new things or noticing an event that piqued your interest. Understanding what your strengths are, what your interests are, what gets you excited throughout the day, analyzing what you like spending time and money on, what do you like to do in your spare time. Ask yourself, can that translate into a job? See what information you absorb from job descriptions. That is, what catches your eye and draws you in. Try using LinkedIn to contact people in the industry you're looking to have a career in, to see what they do day to day, and if you can see yourself doing that as well and enjoying it. Next, you want to make sure you do set SMART goals to help you align your passion to a career type. You can take the free personality test on 16personalities.com, and questions include: do you regularly make new friends? And do you spend a lot of your free time exploring various random topics that pique your interest? You go towards agree or disagree, and once you answer all of the questions, it will show you your personality type. Once you find that out, go back to the indeed.com/career advice page to see more information about how that now affects you.
Now that you have taken a personality test and have many choices of careers to choose from, it is time to narrow it down to a select few. The easiest way to narrow it down is to ask people about their experiences in these roles and compare them to how you would fit into them. Do your core values, missions, and vision align with the position's duties and responsibilities? If possible, try getting an internship or possibly a co-op placement, or even volunteering for a short period of time at the position which interests you the most, to see how much you really like it. Sometimes trying it out for yourself is the best way to eliminate and pick a career. Another way to narrow down is by company. Is there a specific company that has caught your interest? Is there a company that you would be interested in working for one day? Do the company's values and mission align with your own? One last way to pick a future career is by asking questions and eliminating. One extremely thoughtful question is, what is one thing that you would do even if you weren't getting paid for it? Now that you have a perspective about yourself and a small idea of which industry, direction, and position you wish to pursue in a career, it is time to fully plan it out. You can use my blueprint or you can use a Google Doc. For some people, keeping your own diary, if you prefer an analog style of writing, may seem helpful. Here are some steps that you can take to plan out your future career. Outline your career goals. Ask yourselves questions. What do I want for my career? What are my core values? What activities do I most enjoy? What professional activities do I most enjoy on my free time? What are my interests? What are my strengths? What are my weaknesses? What are my soft skills and my hard, concrete skills that I've mastered? Do I want to specialize in certain technical skills, or would I thrive in certain management positions and leadership roles? Create a 5 to 10 year plan. Plan milestones for your career using job titles within that industry. For example, if you start off as a marketing coordinator right out of university, but within 2 years you want to be promoted to a marketing specialist, then a marketing manager in another 3 years would be a good goal to set and outline for yourself. Having definite plans can help you stay passionate about your career. Review your previous work experience. What roles did you enjoy? What roles did you not enjoy? Are there certain trends that you see in your previous work experience? Do you perform better in select environments? Compare the job requirements to your education. There are certain certificates or educational standards that may be required for some positions. This will require planning ahead of time. Also, certain work experience in a specific role to obtain certain positions within select industries if you wish to work in them. Assess your current skill set. Make a list of your current skills, certificates, and areas of expertise. You can also ask coworkers and colleagues for feedback about your technical, interpersonal, and people management skills. This evaluation can help you find careers that match your experience. Identify your core values. Consider making a list of qualities that you think are important to a company and its employees. You can use this list to search for companies and job descriptions that share these values. Consider your salary needs as well, depending on what kind of lifestyle you wish. And if need be, take more personality tests to help understand yourself even better. The Myers-Briggs test is the most popular one, but there are also other tests like the Keirsey Temperament Sorter and the Junigan Type Index. If you are still struggling at identifying a future career path after taking these tests and quizzes, or nothing simply catches your eye, then try looking at it from an educational or academic perspective. Is there a specific program and list of courses that really interest you? Is there a specific subject that interests you? Use this as a starting point and span into what careers and positions you can work in using your program. Many universities and colleges have pages that outline some of the careers and industries that you can work in relating to a degree or diploma of your choosing. These are often found on the specific program pages.
Hello everyone, my name is Dilshan Maulsinger and thank you for coming to this section. In this interview, I will be interviewing Michael Auchincloss, who is the Associate Dean of Advanced Science and Technology from Humber College. Michael, nice to meet you. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Nice to meet you, Dilshan. My name is Michael Auchincloss, and I am one of the associate deans that work for the Faculty of Applied Science and Technology. I take care of the skills trades at Humber, but first and foremost, I am an electrician by trade. So I grew up in the trades. I went through an apprenticeship, learned about the electrical trade, and that is me in a nutshell.
That's great to hear. Now let's get with the questions. Question number 1. What are some reasons that people choose a career in skilled trades?
There's a lot of reasons why people choose careers in skills trades. Right now, more so than any other time within the last 10, 15 years. There's a lot of work in the skills trades, and there always will be work in the skills trades. I see a lot of people migrating to the skills trades because that is something that's always going to keep them busy, and it's challenging, it's exciting, it's fun. The good thing about the skills trades is every day is different, and some people like having that. Instead of going to the same place day after day, they get to go to a different site, they meet different people. It's just an exciting trade place to work at this point in time within the skills trades.
Oh, that's lovely. It's a very diverse environment. You get to do different things. Yeah.
Very, very diverse.
That's great. Question number 2. What are some skill sets or strengths required to be successful in this industry?
A fantastic question. There's a lot of skill sets that needed to become an apprentice or someone within the skills trades. A lot of people are under the assumption that your academic knowledge is not that important, but within the skills trades, it's very important. As an electrician, whether you're a plumber, whether you're a carpenter, welder, millwright, math is very involved within those. Mm-hmm. And having to do math, when you're doing calculations based on the electrical code, you have to understand math and understand how math works. And even as a carpenter, calculating out the angles of roof, rise over run, and building stairs. Math is one of the most important things that people need. Also, a willingness to work, within a team, because when you think of any construction trade, you work with a group of people who work with other groups of people. So not only on the job site, you'll have electricians, plumbers, carpenters, maybe millwrights at that time, depending on what you're doing. So it's really diverse in the group you work with, and being able to work as a team member and to be a great communicator does help. One of the things that industry is looking at right now is that they want to make sure that the people that come into the skills trades have the right personality, professionalism and ethics. Showing up to the job on time, focusing on the work. Yeah, when you think about the construction trades, sometimes you're put in an environment that can be unsafe, just because you've got large equipment moving around you. So those are very important things to have, to be aware and to make sure you show up on time, put in a good day's work, and you'll be successful within skills trades. So having that skill set really does help.
Oh, that's very good to know, very good information. No matter how hard we try to avoid maths, it will always be there with you. You need it in your life.
Math is always going to be there no matter what we do. And it's odd that, coming up through secondary school or high school, you don't really realize that because you're not using it in something that you see as being useful. But once you get into the trades and see how you use math and see how important math is, it really does make a big difference to the students as well, because they start to understand the reasoning behind the math and what they were supposed to learn. It's just nice to link those two together, and to see smiles on faces in classrooms when they start to get that is absolutely wonderful.
That's lovely. Yeah. Third question. What are some common classes someone would take to get into this profession?
Common classes. We run a lot of the skills trades at Carrier Drive, but a lot of things that are common with a lot of the courses are safety trade practices. So working within the trades, working at heights training. English and math are definitely common. You think with any trade, there's a lot of reading that needs to be done. When you're an electrician, a plumber, carpentry, you got the building code, you got the plumbing code, you got the electrical code, and being able to understand how to actually read the code book and interpret the standards is important. Plus the code classes, a lot of them have some type of code orientated towards them to make sure jobs are done properly and to make sure people understand what they're getting at the end of the day.
That's great. Fourth question. What is a common misconception about this career path?
Oh, fantastic question. I am so happy you mentioned that. Common misperception. Having the skill set needed to get into the trade. I think, back in the day when I was in high school, the guidance counselors didn't steer you towards trades. I'm not too sure it's because they weren't too sure about it. But the biggest misconception is that if you're not that good in math and English, to go into the trades. Unfortunately, that's 100% wrong. I know our textbook that we use in electrical theory for the electrical apprenticeship, there is over 640 formulas in the back that you have to know how to use. And I know 7 formulas, and I understand math, so I understand how to transpose. I understand BEDMAS. So with the math knowledge I have, I can manipulate 7 formulas to come up with the rest of them. So that's a big misconception that academically math is really, you don't have to be that strong in it, but you really do.
You have to be.
It's very important.
Wow, let's hope people will know that now.
Yeah, I
learn
certainly
math
hope
properly.
Yeah.
Next question. On the flip side, what are some opportunities available within this path?
Opportunities that the trades doesn't stop within that trades. When I first started as an apprentice, I didn't understand the pathways that were available. and I am an associate dean at Humber College now. I think a lot of people were surprised that my career in skills trades actually led to that. But there's so many paths that you can take, from foreman to estimator to purchaser. There's so many different things that revolve around each trade, and there's so many different aspects of trades. When you look at carpentry, you could do residential, you could do a commercial, or the ICI sector. And the same with plumbing, electrical. They're all broken down into different sectors. And there's so many things. When you think about how a house is built and the knowledge the carpenter needs, the knowledge a carpenter needs to do that from the ground up is formwork and framing. So framing the forms for the concrete foundation. And then you see the house rise out of the ground from there, from the stick frame construction. And then when you get to the interior of the house, the installation of the windows, the doors, all the trim work that's necessary. There's so many different aspects of every trade that, there's many career paths that you can take.
Yeah.
And it really depends on what you really like and the kinds of conditions you like working in. You got to remember that the skills trades work in many different environments. Sometimes you're out in the middle of winter working in a building that's brand new with not much heat, so having to deal with that environment. Sometimes you're working in really warm environments. So there's a lot of different things people can choose from and pick. But there are so many out there. There is something for everybody within the skills trades.
That's great. That's good to know. Yeah, many great opportunities for all people to get from. Yeah.
Definitely.
Last question. What is one piece of advice you'd give students who are exploring their career pathways?
Do that exploration. Ask questions. Asking questions about anything in life is nothing that people should be afraid of or to do. And a lot of people don't know what the skills trades are about. I didn't know what the skills trades were about until I got into them. Ask the questions, go visit community college, see what it is. And ask those questions. There's a lot of fantastic jobs out there within the skills trades, and each one is different within their own way. I look at the skills trades and what I did it as an electrician as art. At the end of the day, it's the pride of what I did and what the other people did on the job site, and seeing the final outcome of it. You start with a hole in the ground, and out of that hole in the ground rises some type of structure that holds people or helps people in many ways, whether it's schools, hospital, houses. There's a lot of things within the skills trade, so don't be afraid to ask the questions. Reach out to the people who know about the skills trades and ask them. You get their experience on it and what they went through to become a skills trades person. It is a wonderful career. It has led me to Humber College. There's a lot of faculty at Humber. Everybody within the Skills Trades Center is a tradesperson of some sort. They have all been certified within their trade, and they ended up as a college. I went from working as an electrician to doing part-time teaching, and found out that I really love teaching. I love sharing my experience with the students that were in that classroom environment. And, to be able to pass down the knowledge that I had was exciting. And it's because they asked questions that they learned a lot more about the trade. And I was able to share my knowledge with them. And that's what it's about. It's about sharing the knowledge, asking the questions.
Yeah. That's lovely. Wow. So thanks a lot, Michael. Those were all the questions. You were truly amazing. And to
Thank you,
everyone
Dilshan.
who is watching this video, we hope you learned something from this interview and that you'll be able to use everything that Michael said in your future. Thanks a lot, Michael.
Thank you, Dilshan. It was wonderful meeting you, and thank you for taking your time to do this.
No
It's
problem.
truly appreciated.
No problem, Michael. Have a good day.
All right. Have a good day.
Bye.
Bye.
Hello, everyone. My name is Naomi Fernandez, and I'm a second-year business student at the University of Guelph Humber. And here with me today is Professor Jit Dhaliwal from the University of Guelph Humber as well, who is here to share insights about the field of business. And it's great meeting you here today once again, Professor Jit. And would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, so thank you for having me first. I am professor at the University of Guelph Humber, and I've been there for the past few years. I've been teaching at the School of Business, and I love sharing my knowledge, the years of experience that I have in the industry with our young leaders.
That's amazing. I know you have a lot more to share with us, and hopefully this interview will allow students to learn more about you and the world of business. And so we will get started. And so the first question is, what are some reasons that people choose a career in business management?
Well, the main reason people choose career in business management is because there's a lot of possibilities with going into business. Every industry needs business leaders. Every industry needs management leaders. So you can work in the banking field, in the education field. You can go into the private sector, public sector, nonprofit. There's so many possibilities with a degree in business, and that's one of the reasons why it's very popular. Because when you come into university, you really don't know which way you want to go. You're still young. You haven't seen what would be a fit for you in the business environment or in the working world. So you come into university and you get these possibilities, and then you start developing that path for yourself. And business is a good opportunity for that.
Yeah, thanks for sharing. And I like how you mentioned that you can basically move from one field to another in the business program since you're all really interrelated. And so that's actually one of the reasons why I chose to be in the business program, since sometimes you say, well, is accounting really for me, or is finance really for me? But that switch is really easy since you kind of take those courses that allow you to prepare for different aspects or different areas in the business program. So thank you so much for sharing.
No problem.
Moving on to question 2, what are some of the skill sets or strengths required to be successful in this industry?
I think leadership is a very important skill set. In any business environment, we're always looking for leaders to move up in the ranks in their careers to become managers, future managers. Project management is important as well. Collaboration, being able to collaborate, a lot of teamwork in any business environment and even non-business environment, right? We're always working with other individuals. So being able to collaborate, teamwork is so important. Strategic thinking, problem solving skills, these are all skill sets you bring with yourself into that business environment. So those are important skills that you need to have. But I think the most important skill set is also empathy, being able to, understand different individuals. Everyone comes from different backgrounds, and being able to work with them and empathizing with them at the same time.
Yeah, and I definitely like that you mentioned leadership, because you spoke about collaboration, empathy, and strategic thinking, which is some of the qualities that leaders should have in order to really guide through a team or really help them understand more and solve problems. And it is actually really important in today's day, and being able to learn or acquire leadership skills does definitely takes time and practice. And once you're in the business world or really taking business courses, you're able to apply those skills and really take ownership of something that you say you're going to do. And so that's how you're able to create those leadership skills. And that's what I really love about the business program as well.
And that's why in the business program, there's a lot of teamwork, right? A lot of projects that you work with different individuals, a lot of presentations that take place as well. And that's really to enhance those skill sets, to help you transition into the working environment.
Yeah, although you're learning more about the course, you're still learning about those other soft skills like presenting, being able to facilitate group discussions and really work well with teams, because that's what business is all about, right? Being able to help others who's like in the same position as you, maybe working underneath you, or even able to help customers and clients, because that's the entire thing of the business industry as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, thank you so much. And moving on to the next question, what are some common classes someone would take to get into this profession?
Well, I think they need to start with intro to business, right? What is a business? Well, what does business mean? And really get the basic foundations of the business environment, management, for example, HR, finance, accounting, marketing. All of that is part of intro to business. So you get snippets of what's out there in the business environment, and as you start going through your first year, second year, third year, you start specializing in the areas where you want to specialize. And this is where you start moving perhaps into organizational behavior, into HR, accounting, finance, start developing those skill sets so that you become successful in the working environment.
Yeah, what I really like about a general business degree, like for example, getting started, is that like you mentioned, you have a range of courses. So this includes like marketing, accounting, finance, management, human resources. And I had you as my professor for human resources this semester. And so this really allows students to get a feel for what they really like, and perhaps really think about what is something they want to specialize in or focus on or get accredited, or really pursue like later on like a master's or like PhD, and maybe like join a certified thing like CPA or CFE. And so there's a lot of various things that can go on from there. And that's what I really love, again, about the business program, is that really allowing you to dip your legs into like different aspects of business before really committing to one.
And that's right. And it gives you the flexibility, right?
Yeah, for sure. And the adaptability as well. And again, like you mentioned before about the leadership things, being able to really see different aspects of the business and able to really say, okay, well, this is what we need to improve on. Here's how we can improve on. And that really allows you to develop those leadership skills as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And moving on to question 4, what is a common misconception about this profession?
Well, I think a common misconception about this profession is that many individuals who come in and get a general business degree, they're not specializing in any of those various aspects, specializing either in marketing, HR, accounting or finance. The misconception is that, they're not a subject matter expert, they're like jack of all trades, so they really don't have that knowledge to be able to move into those various directions. And that's the big misconception that a lot of individuals have with regards to a general business degree. And that's why individuals, when they go through the general business degree, they do have all the knowledge in the different aspects of business, but they just are able to fluidly move from one position to another because they have that being that jack of all trades is not a negative connotation at all. It's, you actually have a little bit of knowledge in all different areas, right? So it's easier for you to move fluidly from one position to another in the business world.
Yeah, and to be honest, I'm glad that you actually said it, because a lot of people say, well, if you specialize in marketing, do you really know something about finance or accounting? Well, the thing with a general business degree is that you learn about different aspects of the business industry. And so sometimes some of these courses are interchangeable. For example, you might learn some things in human resources and learn the exact same thing in accounting because they all go well together, or marketing and management, right? Being able to market your business and manage that group goes along with that as well. And so that's what I really love, once again, about the business degree, is that you can switch from different aspects of business, but at the same time specialize in something. So you would say, for example, you have 80% knowledge in accounting, for example, and then 20% knowledge about something else. But at the same time, you can really apply that in your field as well.
Yeah, exactly. And it's all interconnected, right? Every course in a business degree is kind of interconnected. So you hear the same information. It's just a refresher when you're going through, because business is really a one whole system that takes place, right? You can't just be a marketing expert without knowing HR, without knowing fundamentals of business or organizational behavior. So it really encompasses it all.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you so much for elaborating on that as well. And talking about the flip side, what are some of the opportunities available within this path?
There's infinite opportunities. The world is your oyster. You can go in whichever direction, whichever industry you want to go into. They're always looking for business graduates, people who have business skill set. Like every business needs someone to manage it, right? And whether it is you're running your own business, you're starting, your own business, right up to working for a Fortune 100 company, we all need business leaders, and we need to be able to pull in all that talent to help us drive our business to the next level. And these are the individuals who come from the business school.
Yeah, I definitely agree as well. Once again, there's a lot of business aspects, right? There's a lot of aspects to business. And so every company out there needs someone from business, whether that be managing or handling HR. Because again, when you have people working for you and you have a big organization, you definitely need that in order to get everyone together and really form a company. So without anyone from a business field or a business student or a business graduate, there's no company. And so that's right. What I love. Yeah, you can basically do anything you want with a business degree because you have that fundamental learnings that you have learned from school.
That's right. And you can go into any industry that you want, because we're always looking for leaders, right? Business leaders, people who have that business sense to drive the business forward.
Yeah, of course. Thank you. And our last question is, what is one piece of advice that you would give students who are exploring their career path?
Well, the one piece of advice I would give is discover yourself first. What your strengths are, what your weaknesses are, and that's going to help you shape your career, which way you want to go. And you can start off with a personality test, and there's many personality tests out there. I usually get my classes to take personality tests at the beginning of the semester, so they get to understand who they are, what their strengths and weaknesses are, because you'll be working with people in groups and doing presentations as well. And once you know your strengths and weaknesses, then you can start focusing on which career path would be good for me, right? If you think that teaching, you have that nurturing capabilities, that's your strength, and perhaps moving down that path of becoming a teacher would be one of the career aspirations you can look at. So understanding yourself is the first step towards your career direction. So learn about your strengths and your weaknesses. Strengths will help enhance you, and weaknesses, those are opportunities for you to start honing those skills and making them into strengths down the road. So once you understand yourself, the individual that you are, you're going to start opening up those avenues for your career as well.
Yeah, as well as adding on to what you said, I definitely agree with really discovering yourself. And the thing that I really live by is investing. And I don't mean by investing like monetary values, but investing in yourself and learning skills that can really improve you and put you off at a better situation. And so sometimes I'll spend a few hours a day on YouTube learning something that could potentially be helpful in the future, or taking extra courses, whether that be online or in person, to really learn more about different aspects, whether that be in business or any other fields or a passion or hobby that you're really interested in really understanding what are your strengths and weaknesses. Another test that is there is also called Clifton Strengths, that is offered at the University of Guelph Humber as well. And you can also search it up on Google. And that has really allowed me to learn more about my strengths and how I can apply it, and also help me understand where like some things I do and why do I do it. And it's really helpful for students to know, well, okay, these are my strengths and this is some of the weaknesses that I need to focus on. So I need to take that time to invest in myself so I'm better off. And that human capital is what companies are looking for. They want to see how knowledgeable you are and how are you willing to contribute to a company more than, like software skills, for example. You can definitely learn those on the job, right? You can get training and learn that skills like presenting or communication skills is something that you need to learn by yourself by, again, experiencing it. And so that is what a lot of companies look for. And it's really important to hone those skills when you're in the business program and putting yourself out there as well.
Yeah, it's the soft skills that's really a driver in human relationships, right?
Yeah, of course. And I know that this advice will be really helpful to students who are planning to enter the field of business and really allowing them to see what is some of the things that they can do to improve themselves as well. And I know I will definitely use this myself. So thank you once again. And is there
no problem?
Yeah, and is there any last minute thoughts or tips that you would like to share with anyone?
No, this has been fantastic, and I would love to share more. And if and when the opportunities come up, I'm always here to help.
Yeah, thank you so much. And I just want to let everyone know that this brings us to the end of our interview. And a huge thank you, Professor Jit, for taking the time to be here and answering all these questions. And you're really amazing, and we truly appreciate you.
No problem. It's been amazing having you in my classes as well.
Yes, I know. I've had 2 classes with you, and I'd love to have you again. And I hope that I can get to see you on campus hopefully soon. And to those watching this video, we hope that you learned something from this interview and you were able to use this as a guide in really deciding whether a pathway in business is a right fit for you or not. And so once again, thank you so much, Professor Jit, and thank you everyone for being here. And I just want to say, I hope you have a great day. Take care and stay safe.
You too.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back to this segment of our Careers Pathways video. Today, I will be interviewing Maria Rosa, and she is going to let you know a little bit about herself.
Hi, so my name is Maria Rosa Muya. I am a criminal defense lawyer based out of Toronto in the GTA, and I have been practicing since 2018.
Great. So we're going to ask her a few questions to help you get to know more about what she does and how she experiences things. So Maria, what are some reasons that people choose a career in law?
Yes, there are a lot of reasons why people choose to go into career in law. I find that most people choose a career in law because they want to help people primarily. They want to help people in different situations. Law is such a broad area, so there are many different aspects of law. So myself as a criminal defense lawyer, I went into criminal law because I wanted to help people when they were accused of breaking the law, and that's one of the big reasons that people always choose law. Another reason is they want to inspire change in policy making, and they can also use a degree in law to launch themselves in other career paths as well.
Thanks. And what would you say some about the other skills or strengths needed for someone to be successful in this type of industry?
You definitely need to have a very good work ethic. Being a lawyer is not easy. It requires a lot of hard work. On top of that, very detail oriented. This is a job where every word matters, every little fact matters. So being able to have that eye for detail is very important. On top of having good people skills, you're going to be dealing with a lot of people in this profession and in law. So being able to communicate with different people from different backgrounds, different age groups is also a very important skill that will help you be successful in this industry.
Those are really good things for us to know. And what would you say some classes that people would usually take if they're going into this profession?
Right. So luckily, to get into law school, you don't need any specific background. What you need is very good grades. So what I think the best thing to do is take something that you enjoy doing, something that you'll be good at, because you'll naturally get those good grades. And you also enjoy your education in the process. I know a lot of people take very law-focused classes like criminology or law and ethics, which is good, but it's much different than what law school actually ends up being. I think some of the most helpful areas would to take something like philosophy. And it sounds a little bit strange, but in philosophy, you learn logic reasoning and you learn to question every word and why things are done in a certain way, which is exactly what you're going to need when you go to law school.
Great. Those are great. And what would you say some common misconceptions are towards this path?
So there are a lot of misconceptions. I think the biggest one is that it's a very glamorous lifestyle. You know, you see things on TV and in movies and it looks really fun. And, there's dramatics about it. But the majority of being a lawyer is actually sitting down and reading a lot of things. So I think that's a big misconception, that it's some type of glamorous lifestyle. I think the other misconception, especially as a criminal defense lawyer, is, you're not a very good person if you're defending, criminals or people who have done harm. So that's a very big misconception that I get. But other people in the profession, that it's a very money-based, selfish industry, I think is a big misconception as well.
Yeah, so it'd be good for some of us to get some of these things kind of out of our heads when we're thinking towards these types of pathways.
Definitely.
And what would you say are some opportunities within this pathway?
Yeah, so there are a lot of great opportunities. So just because you go to law school doesn't mean you have to be a lawyer. You can become a professor of law. If you do end up on the lawyer path, you can always end up as a judge as well. But having a legal background is really great. It can launch you into, policy making. It's also a good background if someone would like to go into politics. But I think the greatest opportunity is being able to have that legal education, which allows you to then give back to the community and really make a big change and a big difference. So I think that's the best opportunity that you can get from this profession.
Great. And last, for our students, what's one piece of advice you'd give to them when exploring this pathway?
I would say it's okay not to know exactly where you want to go. I think it's such a hard thing to be very young and try to figure out, all of the steps of what you want to do with your life and where you want to end up. So I think it's accepting that it's okay not to know and to try everything. I thought I wanted to be an immigration lawyer up until I went to law school. I was a die-hard on that. And I, had my first criminal law class and it was game over. The only thing I wanted to do was criminal law. So explore all of your options, and follow your passion. If you can find something that you're passionate about, an area of law, a certain social issue, it will help drive you forward.
Great, thank you. And there are many people like Maria Rosa who has followed their path into law. So if this is something that you're interested in, we say go for it. Thanks, everyone. And thank you, Maria, for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for joining us today. My name is Darshan Mausinger, and in this section, I will be interviewing Brandine McDonald, who is a professor at Humber College and who is also one of the amazing teachers who taught me there. Brandine, would you like to introduce yourself?
I think you've said everything I would say there, Dilshan. Brandine McDonald. I teach electronics at Humber College, and I was happy to have Dilshan as one of my students there.
Thanks, Arthur. We're very glad to have you here. Okay, so up to the questions. Question number 1. What are some reasons that people choose a career in engineering?
I find there are 2 main reasons that I've heard people talk about when they take engineering. And one is, a detailed interest in the subject matter. So they find the subject matter very interesting, and so they want to pursue that in engineering. The other reason that I find is that people want to make a difference in society and do something for their community or the world at large. And so I find there's these 2 very different reasons that people may have, but they work very well together. Someone may come in with one or both of those reasons and end up, both making a difference and having a detailed love of whatever they're studying.
That's amazing, yeah. With engineering, you can just unleash all of your creativity and imagination and just impact the whole world with it. Yeah. Okay. What are some skill sets or strengths required to be successful in this industry?
One key strength I would highlight is the desire to solve problems and to answer those unanswered questions, and that genuine curiosity and desire to know. And I think you hit on it a little bit when you mentioned creativity, because of course your creativity is going to come in to solving those problems. But I find the most successful people, they don't let unanswered questions lie. They constantly want to seek out that knowledge and to figure out, okay, what is going on here? And so I think that, is a really key thing to keep in mind.
True, that's amazing. Yeah. What are some common classes someone would take to get into this profession?
So, of course, there are the classic, science, physics, math, the calculus, things like that. And taking those courses at the high school level will help you keep your options open. The thing that is less desirable is that you find a program that you're interested in only to find out that you don't have some of the prerequisites to register in that program. And it doesn't mean that you can't take that program. There will be a pathway somehow for you to get what you need to take that program. But if you can keep the math and science with you throughout high school, if we're speaking to a high school audience, then you're keeping your options open. And if you already have an interest in a field that you think that you like or that you want to pursue, the best way is to look at, okay, for that particular program, what do they require, and make sure that you do take those courses. But even if you might be considering something totally not, in one of those, just keeping these courses there anyway keeps the options open, right? Oftentimes it's harder to go back and take something that you didn't take before. But that can also still be done. So if you find yourself interested in a program that you find you don't have the prerequisites for, but you're interested in that, I would say, don't dismiss that program. Talk to people and see, okay, well, what is the pathway for me to get what I need to get to where I want to go?
Got it. There's always an option to help you out. Just don't give up. Yeah. What's the common misconception about this part?
I think sometimes there's a misconception that, whatever program you take will teach you everything that you need to know, and that you won't have to do any learning after that. And actually, it's the opposite. A program can give you the foundational knowledge, which is fantastic and a necessary foundation to have. But whatever job or field that you go into is going to require more learning. So whether it's learning about the processes of that specific company itself, or just getting deeper into the knowledge of the field that you've chosen, the learning doesn't stop. So I think that's important to understand, but also, for people to feel confident that, of course, they can do that and keep learning and keep going on that path, right? Once you know how to learn, and everybody knows how to learn, right? Like everybody is constantly, seeking knowledge and seeking understanding. So just to know that is a natural part of the process, that the learning will be ongoing. And sometimes people think that the work is solitary, and sometimes the work can be solitary depending on what work you're doing. But most people are working within large groups of teams, so there's always that opportunity to collaborate and come together with other people to create solutions. And you want to keep that mindset that you're working as part of a team, and that you want to have that common goal, right?
That's true. On the flip side, what are some opportunities available within this part?
The thing I like about electronics, so people always ask me, Brandine, they say to me, Brandine, if I graduate in electronics, what field can I work in? And so the thing that I love is no matter what industry piques your interest, or where you may have a secondary passion, you can find electronics in a role in that industry somewhere, right?
Yeah.
So whether it's transportation or medical or telecom, entertainment, right, environmental, every field requires some sort of electronics, some sort of devices that keep their industry operating. And so I find that very exciting, because you can merge passions, right?
Exactly.
You can take your love of the field that you've studied, plus a love of some other industry, and combine these things for a very satisfying career.
That's true. You can just implement electronics with anything you have a huge passion for. Like, nothing's impossible with engineering, right? Yeah. Last question. What is one piece of advice you'll give students who are exploring their career pathways?
I would say, pursue what you love. If you already know what you love, pursue that, or pursue what you're interested in, because maybe you want to see, where will this path lead. Pursue what you're interested in, and no matter what the industry or field, there's a place for you. People shouldn't feel that they have to become someone else in order to exist in that field or industry. So, there is a place for you, and you will get good at whatever you're doing, right? Because of course, if you love it and you're going forward with this creativity and problem solving, you're going to get good. And just by being your authentic self, you will make a valuable contribution to whatever field that is in. So I hope people know that there is a place for them, for their true self, in whatever field interests them.
Got it. The world is just waiting to see what they have in store for them. Yeah. So thanks a lot. Yeah, those were all the questions. Thanks a lot for answering them all. We really appreciate it. And to everyone watching this video, we hope you learned something valuable from this amazing person, Brandine, and that you'll be able to use all her advice to pursue your passion and your career. Thanks a lot, Brandine, and have a lovely day.
Thank you so much, Dilshan. It's always great to talk to you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Hi everyone, and welcome back to this segment of the Career Pathways video. My name is Rebecca, and I am a nursing student, and we are here with Lisa. So Lisa, can you please tell us about yourself?
I'd be happy to. So my name is Lisa Shiozaki. I'm a nurse by background. I started my career in critical care and worked with the intensive patients, and then moved into leadership positions very early on in my career. So I have been a manager, a director, a vice president, a chief operating officer, and a chief nurse executive in hospitals in Ontario. So have worked in all different types of clinical areas, and I can't actually tell you what my favorite is, because there's something unique about each patient population and about the teams that care for each unique patient population, and that I've loved across my career. What I'm doing right now is I work with leadership teams in hospitals to try and make the conditions better for the staff, physicians, and volunteers that work there, make them more engaged to be there, so that they're happy, they stay within organizations. And the research shows that with staff being happy in what they're doing and engaged in the work that they're doing, we offer better patient care. So I'm working on the leaders of the future, so that the workforce in our healthcare systems can be the best they can be for patients.
That's amazing. Lisa has a lot of experience to share with us. So our first question is, what are some reasons that people would choose a career in healthcare, and specifically nursing?
Well, I think it's a really nice blend between the sciences and the art. I always think that it's a blend between the science of nursing and the art of caring. So if you're someone that's compassionate and wants to make a difference and work with people, it's a great career for you. But if you're also someone with a bit of a science brain, you like to put puzzles together because patients come in and you work as a team to try and figure out what's going on with this patient. What is the blood work showing me? What is the diagnostic showing me? What is the patient's story? What are they telling me? So it's a real puzzle to put it together. So it's a nice blend of caring and science, and the nursing profession has grown over the years. So you can keep learning throughout your career, which is really neat.
I definitely agree. I really enjoy the both science and the caring part of it. All right, so our next question is, what are some skill sets and strengths required to be successful in this industry?
Well, you have to be able to have move fast, but you also have to learn to move slow. You're on your feet a lot in nursing, so you're sometimes caring for a number of patients at a given time. So you have to be able to balance those priorities and move around, but you also sometimes need to take a step back as you're looking at what's going on with a patient, as you're trying to figure out what's the root cause, that not just the symptoms, but what's the root cause of what's going on with this person, because that might affect how you interact with them and the care plan that you put together for them. So you really need to be able to prioritize accountabilities. You need to be able to really listen. I think of all of the skills over the years, I think honing your listening skills and listening to hear is probably the most important, because you're listening to your fellow team members, both nursing, physicians, some of the other professionals, physios, OT. They all have different points of view, which are really important when you're trying to strategize the best care plan for a patient. So listening to them and then listening to the patients and the patient's family, because what they're telling you will help you to help them better. So I think those are some of the skills that you need.
Great. I have really grown in my listening skills since I started nursing. So I think it's really important in the field as well. So our next question is, what are some common either high school or extra courses that someone would take in order to get into this profession?
Well, science is huge. You want to know science. You need to be good at the basics of math. You don't need to be a calculus expert, but you do an awful lot of calculating of dosages and things like that for the medications. And depending on the type of area that you're in critical care or in emergency, you might be titrating, which means sort of distilling down the solutions that are going in. You have to make sure that you're giving the right dosage to the right patient to move that forward. So math is a huge one. The sciences, biology, chemistry, all of those things factor into it. But also just being well-rounded in the courses that you're taking. English in Ontario, I find, depending on where you practice anywhere in Canada, but we've got a lot of francophones. So to be bilingual is a huge asset, and that opens up so many other opportunities for you, both within Canada and abroad, to have a second language. So there's really there's not a wrong course to take, and it's what you feel most comfortable with taking. When I started my university degree, I did genetics. I really liked genetics as my elective because I found that fascinating. So other people would like the psychology part more of it. So you can hone in on what you love to do, both in high school and then in your elective courses that you choose once you're in university.
Yeah, I agree. Make sure you have those sciences, and you're going to need some math in order to do those dosages. So be able to get those courses. Our next question is, what's a common misconception about this profession?
Well, I think the most common is that you're the assistant to the physician, and you are not. We are colleagues. It is a team. There's not a hierarchy in teams. You are colleagues to physicians. You can't. Nurses don't do a physician's job, and vice versa. Physicians can't do a nurse's job. Through the pandemic, we had such a shortage in some areas that many physicians were trying to work in the ICUs and things like that at the bedside as a nurse. And they didn't have quite the same skill set, so they couldn't actually do the same job. So we're complementary. So we're not reporting to the doctor. We work with the doctor. We have our own scope of practice, and you can think for yourself. The other huge misconception is this is a female profession. It is dominated by females, but it is not a female profession. And in fact, my favorite teams that I have been on or that I have led have been both male and females on the team, because not only do the other professionals offer you a different viewpoint, but males and females in nursing offer you a different viewpoint and a different perspective. And all of those perspectives always drive better care for your patients.
Yeah, that is very true. And I have worked with several male nurses, and it is a pleasure to work with all of them because they're an asset to the team as well. It's not one versus the other. It's a diverse group of people.
Mm-hmm.
So on the flip side, what would you say are some opportunities that are available within this pathway?
Well, I think that there's too many to list, and I think that the only barrier is limiting your expectations. So I have been practicing for more than 35 years, and I have had almost a change in role every 2 years for that whole time. And many of them have been lateral moves. I've worked in a few different clinical areas as a frontline nurse. I managed a couple of different areas, so they were same level positions, but boy, moving laterally and getting exposure to a different patient population or a different team that took care of those patients was really, really exciting work. Getting into leadership and partnering outside of the hospital sector with the community sector. And I think that's another key point, that nursing is just not limited to hospitals. If that's where you want to practice and what you like to do, you can do that, but you can work in the community sector, which has so many rewards. I worked with the Victoria Order of Nurses for a short period of time. I loved going into people's homes and caring for them there. You can work in long-term care. There's so many opportunities, and we know that we can do better in long-term care. And I think that it's going to be nurses that will make the difference for the care that we offer our seniors and our long-term care patients.
Yeah.
So many opportunities. It's very, very exciting. You can nurse practitioner is another thing. I chose to go the leadership route in nursing, and I did a master's at Queen's in public administration, which I loved as well. I could have done a nurse practitioner. Many of my friends did nurse practitioner course, which gets you at a higher level of clinical practice. I chose leadership because I liked that aspect of it. But many of my friends have done both. They've been leaders, and then they've gone and gotten advanced skills as a clinician. It's also, with your first 4-year degree, a stepping stone. You can then go to medical school if you want to become a physician. You can go into other aspects of professions. There's no limitations. It's who you are and what you want to do. It's a wonderful starting point for a long career that's enjoyable, that connects with people, and that makes a difference.
Yeah, and I think you, Lisa, are a perfect example of all the opportunities that the field has. You can really branch out into find what you like specifically, and there will be a nursing role there. So I also enjoy that part, and it's also one of the reasons why I started that journey as well. So for our last question with Lisa, what's one piece of advice that you would give students who are exploring this career path?
I would talk to people that are in the nursing profession, but I would also talk to people that have benefited from the care that they've received from nurses. Because you'll see two different things. You'll hear what people are passionate about and why they do the work that they do and how it makes them feel. But if you talk to some patients that have been cared for and have had an excellent experience and exposure to a nurse, you also get to see the impact of what that is. And the impact is not sometimes so scientific. The impact is sometimes how you made somebody feel because you took a minute to listen, you took a minute to make them a cup of tea, you took a minute to make them feel not like they were a number in a bed, but a person who meant something and who was that you were trying to care for and you made a difference for. So I think doing that, you certainly see how nurses are being celebrated in the media right now. If you go and talk to a nurse, don't talk to them maybe at the end of a 12-hour shift during the pandemic, because they might be a little tired and tell you don't do this. Get them when they're fresh, because once they've had a bit of sleep, they usually tell you that they're still passionate about going back the next day.
Thank you, Lisa. I hope all of you have learned from her. I sure definitely have in this moment. So we thank you guys all for listening, and we hope that you learned something from this meeting.